What's up, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, SpazPhoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and I am here in fact, that capacity to give a reality check. Not to you guys, of course, because you guys are all my lovely, wonderful viewers, but to give a reality check to the WWE, as if they're actually listening. I've done it. A lot of other people have done it, depending on what kind of wrestling you're into. People have, come on here and said which divisions need more attention. And the more I think about it, the more I look at other people's videos. The two that I agree with the most are, why doesn't WWE do anything with their tag team division? And why don't they have a Cruiserweight division? Now, you've done it, I've done it, we've all done it. We sit there and we fantasy book and we say, if we could grab a couple more guys from ROH, or, poach a couple X Division guys from TNA, or just find a couple more real good teams to really start building a division on. This could be really great. Hey, let's bring over the Motor City Machine Guns, let's bring in Beer Money, let's bring back, the world's greatest tag team, let's, bring this team or that team back from retirement, or do something that way. But the reality check is this. With the current roster that we have right now, not going outside the roster, not going outside the WWE, and looking for some invisible, magical, missing ingredient that may or may not even be there, with what we have in the current product right now, and with the 3-hour Raw revolution, whatever you want to call it, happening after the 1000th episode happens, there is no excuse. They have all the ingredients they need in their current roster. They are just not getting the recognition. They are not getting the how can I say this? The platform to show WWE what they can do. And I'm going to start this with the Cruiserweight division first, because I'm a huge, huge fan of high-flying wrestling. It's why I watch WCW. It's why I watch TNA. Cards on the table. Yes, I watch TNA because Jeff Hardy's there and because Kurt Angle's there and a couple other individual people. But as a whole, I watch for the X division, especially guys like Austin Aries and stuff like that. Now, the last time WWE had a Cruiserweight division, they put it in the toilet by putting the belt on Hornswoggle and then retiring it. That's a sour way to retire any championship. And, well, went on Wikipedia, looked it up. The last time that there was a Cruiserweight division, all you had to be to compete in that division was 215 pounds or under. So, your buddy took his time, went over the WWE website, looked through the new layout of the WWE.com website, which is not that bad, actually, now that they've done some renovations and whatnot. Now, all the weights are listed in the superstar profiles and whatever, so I've selected everybody that falls into that category that could potentially be part of a Cruiserweight division, because it's not just, one or two. There's a lot of people. Some of them are people that you're going to think I'm nuts for. Some of them are people that you think should be a lot higher on the card. This is just literally going by the weight, the weight category, the parameters set by the WWE for what a Cruiserweight champion has to be. These are the names that you could have in this division. Some of them are jobbers, obviously. Some of them should be way higher. Some of them are former world champions, to be quite honest with you. But this is what they could potentially have in a division. Christian. And yes, I am a big Christian fan. Christian deserves a good, solid world title run, in my opinion. But he sits at 212, which puts him under the 215 weight limit. He could be the guy that makes the rest of them look good. He could be the guy that, sort of oversees it, sort of is part of the foundation of it, and makes the other stars that flourish in that division look great. Christian, in most matches, he is the guy that makes his opponent look good. I don't think Christian would ever hold the title necessarily. If they started a new division, he would be one of the guys, if they were to do, say, a tournament or something like that, he would be one of the guys in the preliminary rounds putting over somebody big. Like, if Superstar X is your next big champion, this is the guy you want to breed for success. Have him go over Christian in the first round. Christian will make sure he looks like gold. At 215 exactly, you have Cody Rhodes, and here is where I will get lynched. Because people think, okay, he just dropped the Intercontinental title, he should be moving up, not down. If they treated the Cruiserweight division properly, it wouldn't be seen as a step down. And think about Cody Rhodes' character in the past little while. His character in the past little while has been an excellent one-on-one star, for one thing. But another thing is he came and basically resurrected the Intercontinental Championship from relative obscurity. He could do the same for the recreation of a brand new title almost take it on as a pet project rather than being somebody that legitimately wants to carry the belt. But if he could say, look, I resurrected the Intercontinental Championship, I resurrected the Cruiserweight Championship, well, maybe I'll go resurrect the U.S. Championship, maybe I'll grab a partner and resurrect the Tag Team Championships, then I'll go get the World title, and he'll just toss it off like something else he did that day. But somebody as big as Cody Rhodes, just because he literally falls under the sort of the weight classification, and because he could waltz into the division, grab the title once, just because he can, just to say that he did it, just to put another mark on his resume. And I think, again, Cody Rhodes would hold it with, you know, prestige, even though he's a heel. He would hold it with a lot of prestige. It would mean a lot sitting on him, because we've just seen what he did in the Intercontinental division, I guess, and whoever got it off of him would look like $1 million. Heath Slater sits at 216, so if he lost 1 pound, he'd be great. Heath Slater's kind of a comedy, goofball-ish heel. He'd be the guy in that division. He's not exactly the fastest, but, you know, you put him up against somebody super fast-paced and super fun to watch. He'd go there, shoot his mouth off. Somebody more talented, more popular would come in there and run circles around him, and that would be part of what made the division great. Heath Slater could be the heel jobber of the Cruiserweight division. Epico is a whole 2 pounds over the weight limit, so again, lose a couple pounds. Epico and Primo as a team are both on here. We see how well they work as a team. We see how exciting they can be, how well they work together. So if they ever had a cousin versus cousin feud, a family feud, that always adds something, and to know that those guys could both fit into the same division would be a great story. Hunico and I don't think Camacho is on this list, because I don't think Camacho makes the list. But Hunico has sort of that... He has a little bit of that lucha style, but at the same time he's a brawler, and at the same time he's got that, the hybrid of those two styles. And I think it would be... He could be sort of the brute of the division, the gangster, the thug, whatever you want to call him, of the division. And I think he could play that role quite well. He could be disliked, but still go in there and look very dominant, almost be maybe the Mark Henry or the Big Show of the Cruiserweight division. Or if anybody used to watch WCW, and they always refer to La Parka as, the biggest Cruiserweight we have, and I don't know, I think Hunico could play that up very well. Justin Gabriel is a star waiting to be made. He could be the figurehead if you really wanted him to be if you really wanted to make it one figurehead of the division. Justin Gabriel is it. At 213, as I've said in previous videos, he touches that part of my Mark brain that Jeff Hardy used to in his heyday when he was first coming up. Justin Gabriel... Sorry guys, there's bugs all over the place. Justin Gabriel has that high-flying, flashy style that grabs your attention right away. He could be magic in this division. Primo I already talked about. Rey Mysterio at 175. Now, he's been a former world champion. He deserves better. He's just come back. Why would he want to do something like this? If you think about lightweight wrestling, if you think about legitimate luchador, lucha libre style wrestling, if you think about cruiserweights as a main event, you think of Rey Mysterio. Not necessarily to say that Mysterio would go in there and need to carry the belt. Not necessarily to say that Rey Mysterio would necessarily have to go in there and put somebody else over. Even if he was in there as sort of in a mentoring role, or in a... I don't know. Anybody who watches TNA knows the X Division in its beginning sort of had that, we all fight each other, but we all kind of respect each other because we are our own little subdivision. Rey Mysterio could be like sort of the influx of morals. He could be the conscience of the Cruiserweight division, and I'm pretty sure he would help a lot of stars as he went along on his way. And I think he would be, if you did a Cruiserweight division, you could not have Rey Mysterio in it. Which brings me to Sin Cara at 180, and here is somebody that everybody wants to get on because he's injury prone and he's got, a couple substance abuse issues and he's had a lot of things that have kept him away from the ring, and he botches a lot and Why did he botch a lot? Because he brought a style back to the WWE that the WWE hadn't seen in years, and nobody else could mesh with it. That uniqueness, that individuality, that you know, nobody likes to compare Sin Cara to Rey Mysterio, but it's true. But there's that different style. There's that style that's not specifically WWE that he brings. It's fast-paced, and it's sort of like, if you're his opponent, he's behind you, beside you, in front of you, all at once, and you're on the ground before you even realized you were actually standing up. That enigmatic, masked, silent sort of superstar, you know, almost with the superhero gimmick, but not really. It always has a place. And again, like Justin Gabriel, he could be one of the figureheads or one of the main faces of the division. You know, he'd go out there, he'd sell his merch, you know, people would be selling the masks, kids would be there with the masks and all that sort of thing. And it would probably appeal more to the kids, but people that have a liking for that masked superstar era, that lucha style, that anonymous style, it would bring fans like that have maybe fallen by the wayside. Hey, remember this? Remember when you used to like this? Well, it's back now, and possibly even better. Ted DiBiase, not necessarily known for his high flying, could create that diversity in the division. Here's somebody who's seen some main event exposure with Randy Orton and Legacy and all that, who's seen some tag team success, and it would be a different venue for him, and he would bring the ground game to lightweight wrestling. It would be almost the counterculture to somebody like a Justin Gabriel or a Sin Cara to break the stereotype. It's like, okay, well, just because you're small doesn't mean you're a high flyer. That would be the case. Anybody that remembers maybe sort of Jamie Noble or that type of star who were lightweight, but they never really did, you know, the high-flying, high-spot, fast style. It would create diversity in the identity of the division. Trent Barreta. Trent Barreta is literally somebody that I know is fun to watch, but I haven't nearly seen enough of to form any more of an opinion of him. He's a star that could benefit from a platform like this, specifically designed for him. You know, coming in at 195, he's not exactly the biggest guy. He's not going to be, you know, shooting for the stars in the WWE. And he's just another fun guy to watch. And that's a lot of what people like in the Cruiserweight division, is not necessarily, you know, not necessarily a 5-star grappling classic, but if you can have some fun, see some spots, you know, the high spots, the low shots, and all that sort of thing, he would have a platform to do that on, and it wouldn't be infringing on anybody else who, you know, maybe wants to be more of a wrestling purist and wants to see, say, a Daniel Bryan versus CM Punk match. Could be over there, but this guy could have his own platform that doesn't infringe on that, and I think it would work better for everybody. Tyson Kidd. If we want to, yeah, I haven't been giving the weights at all, but Tyson Kidd, also at 195, you know, he has the heritage. He could bring the heritage aspect to the division. He could bring that, you know, Hart Dynasty, Hart family, you know, Canadian wrestling legacy from the dungeon, and much like Ted DiBiase, but a hell of a lot better, for sure. Bring that grappling, that, you know, that tight, cinched-in submission style, and in his own right, he can high fly when he needs to as well. So he's got that diversity. Yoshi Tatsu is Japanese, Chinese, Mexican, Spanish stars have rich history within the realm of high flying, high spot, X division, cruiserweight, light heavyweight type divisions. Yoshi Tatsu has a fun, high-flying style. There's nothing particularly special. I wouldn't put the belt on him right away, but he could be just another guy that's there. I don't want to say he'd be a jobber, because he'd be that midway between a jobber and maybe... He wouldn't be a jobber, but he wouldn't be the champion either. He'd be one of those guys that maybe you beat in a semifinal match, if there was, say, a tournament. He'd be the guy that you beat in the #1 contenders match before you went for the title. That kind of a building block, a stepping stone type of character. Not to demean Yoshi Tatsu at all. I think he's a lot of fun to watch in the ring. Me personally, I wouldn't put a belt on him. But in a division, there's a whole lot of guys under the guy with the belt, and the more guys there are fighting for that belt, the more the guy with the belt looks good. The very last guy I'm going to say is somebody that, you know, most people think deserves a world title shot or even a mid-card title shot by now, and that's Kofi Kingston, because he has a high-flying style, but it's different. Kofi Kingston's like rubber in the ring. Most high flyers are very fluid. Their motions are very fluid. There's no wasted motion. It's, you know, you're here, I'm here, you're there, I'm coming directly at you, whereas Kofi sort of comes at you from all sides and has a very, very bouncing, very high energy, very multiple impact type of a style, which, while still being a high-flying style, would contradict most of the rest of the stars that I've mentioned so far in this list that I've given. That's it. That's over 12 stars right there. That's well more than what you would need to support a division. Would all of them stay there? No. Like I said, Christian, Cody Rhodes, Rey Mysterio, they would make their contributions to this division, let the younger stars build themselves up till they look big enough, and then those guys would definitely go on and do other things. Kofi Kingston's already a tag team champion, so, you know, him competing in a Cruiserweight division would be almost on a part-time basis while he's, you know, tag team champions with R-Truth, and that's fine. Cody Rhodes is on his way to a world title. But if he wants to make his name by resurrecting another belt like he did with the Intercontinental belt, it could work. Christian's a great mid-carder, and if he wants to add a Cruiserweight championship to his list of mid-card accomplishments, I think it would do fantastically, and I think all of their contributions, if used properly, if the younger guys were built up to hold the belt after those guys are gone, this could be a great Cruiserweight division. They all have their spots. They all have their individual gifts, their individual styles that would benefit the overall sort of identity of the group, of the division, whatever. And if you follow the dirt sheets, yes, I'm going to deviate just a little bit for a second. If you follow the dirt sheets and you see who's been let go from TNA recently, take all these stars, add the name Alex Shelley. Just saying. There's no reason, especially with a 3-hour Raw now, that you couldn't throw on one or maybe even two, you know, 5 to 10 minute, or maybe not even 5, maybe, you know, 5, 6, 7 minute Cruiserweight matches. Throw on 1 or 2 matches a week even. You know, put a tournament together. Crown yourself a first champion. Within the confines of that tournament, you know, feuds would start, you know, conflicts would form, and let it go, and it would take off with a life of its own after that. The tag team division. Let's switch gears. Let's talk about the tag team division. The tag team division, the tag team championships, I should say, have never been, you know, abolished, because people love tag team wrestling. Problem is we don't have very many tag teams, or at least not very many tag teams that are used properly in the WWE. At the last pay-per-view, you had a Battle Royal. In that Battle Royal, there were 3 tag teams, and in that same pay-per-view, 2 thrown-together teams were fighting over the tag team championships. Now, again, let's strictly look at what we have in the WWE right now. R-Boom. Now, this is a reincarnation. This is sort of a version 2 of Air Boom, of, you know, what happened when Evan Bourne was suspended, or, you know, is dealing with whatever he's dealing with now. Now Kofi's with R-Truth. I didn't like it at first. As I've said in my videos in the past few weeks, the team's definitely growing on me. They are definitely an entertaining group. I have no problem with them being the tag team championships at the moment, because WWE hasn't really made anybody else look like contenders. Like, they look like they're the champions and they're the only ones in the division, almost. Now that's good in one sense, because it's keeping them on TV and it's keeping them fresh and interesting and whatever, but it's not making the tag team championships look like anybody else wants them, if that makes any sense. You have Jack Swagger and Dolph Ziggler. Now, this is a car wreck of a team, and anybody that watched Raw last night knows that they're probably going to break up soon, but that hasn't become official, and I'll believe it when they have a match against each other, to be perfectly frank. But followed to the ring by Vicky Guerrero, you've got Dolph Ziggler, who's the complete total package as far as a wrestler goes, and he's good in no matter what match he's in. As many respected people that I talk to here on YouTube have said, he's losing his way to a world title eventually. But you've got Jack Swagger, who physically and technically in the ring has all the gifts that he needs, but other than that is as boring as watching gray paint dry, and he's definitely riding Dolph Ziggler's coattails into any tag team match that they compete in. They are brought to the ring by Vicky Guerrero, who is annoying as hell and is instant heel heat for anybody she represents. So whether you like them, whether you don't like them, they are a staple in the tag team division right now. The Usos. the greatest team in the WWE right now to never hold those belts. If you want the image and everything that a tag team should be, they have the heritage. They are the direct sons of Rikishi. They themselves are brothers. That gives them a bond that nobody else has. They are identical twin brothers, which makes them look alike. They dress alike. They come to the ring together. They even have an interesting sort of unique way of coming to the ring with the Samoan war dance that they do on the way to... I don't know what it's called, and if anybody can tell me, please pop it down in the box below. But they have that... It makes them stand out. You know, they come in there, for the first couple of seconds, they have the old sort of tribal-type music while they're doing the war dance thing that they do, and then after the pyro goes off, they have almost like that club hip-hop type of music that takes them the rest of the way to the ring. So they've got that mix of heritage and modern. They've got the lineage, you know, being part of the great wrestling Samoan family. They've got the fact that they're brothers. They've got the fact that they are seamless in the ring. And it is ridiculous at this point that they have not held the tag team championships at least once. Young and O'Neil. Now, when they got drafted from, I guess you could call it a drafting, from NXT to SmackDown, I didn't like it at first, because they hadn't shown me really anything on NXT, but to be honest, I hadn't watched that much NXT, so that's partially my own fault. They have gelled together as quite a team, as quite a comedic team, and the vibe that the two of them have developed between themselves is great. You know, they come to the ring dressed alike. They do as much as they can to look alike. Their tandem wrestling gets better and better and better every week. I'm not saying that the new kids on the block should get the titles right away, but they should at least be infused in the title picture. Maybe have a couple teams in a tag team battle royal or whatever, and they could definitely be one of those teams. Just do something along the lines of a #1 contendership match to prove that a team has to do something before they get a shot at those belts. Because if it's just, okay, who wants a title shot this week, then the belts really don't mean anything. Reks and Hawkins. Now, Reks and Hawkins is a little bit different. Reks and Hawkins is that big guy, little guy dynamic of a tag team, where you kind of break that mold of wanting guys to look exactly alike. Okay, you had Demolition, you had the Headbangers, you had Legion of Doom, all that, and you had the teams that look exactly alike, and then you have teams like, say, the New Age Outlaws, who were not alike in the slightest, but they still mesh together well as a team. You got those big guy, little guy teams like LAX in TNA, which was Homicide and Hernandez, I believe, where you've got that one guy that's a high flyer, you've got that one guy that's a more of a power guy. You had the same thing with Crime Time, which, I mean, WWE, if I could smack WWE for doing stupid things, I'd be smacking them a lot, but one of the things I would smack them for the most would be breaking up Crime Time, because that killed both of them. One of them ended up leaving, and the other one is a fucking jobber now, which is ridiculous. But you could have this team of Hawkins and Reks, where Hawkins is sort of the guy that goes in there, wrestles, is a little bit faster, a little bit more quick and agile and all that sort of thing, and then you bring in Reks, who just comes in and wrecks shop, no pun intended. They play off each other well, their styles play off each other well, and that opposites attract kind of tag team does have a place in a tag team division. Gabriel and Kidd. Now, I'm not a fan of thrown together tag teams, like I've said, but the combination of Gabriel and Kidd is intriguing to me because, again, you get that opposites attract scenario that I just spoke about with Hawkins and Reks, where here you have like I say, the tight technical grappler with the Hart family background in Tyson Kidd, combined with the high-flying, high-impact, high-intensity, high-spot style of Justin Gabriel, and I would have been interested to see how that team would have meshed together if one of them, I believe it was Gabriel, didn't get injured right after WrestleMania, or I think during WrestleMania, if I'm not mistaken. When Gabriel comes back, I hope they reform that team. I hope they give them a shot and see what they can do. Hunico and Camacho. Now, in reality, it's a thug brawling type of tag team with a little bit of a Latino luchador edge or flavor to it. Really, Hunico's there as the wrestler, Camacho's there as his bodyguard, but there's nothing to say that in a proper tag team division these guys wouldn't, pool their efforts as a team and make a shot at those belts. So with them it would be more of a wait and see. You know, not every team is going to hit it out of the park. There's going to be some teams that job. There's going to be some teams that are just kind of there and never do anything spectacular. And then there's going to be the ones that do hit it out of the park and do hit something spectacular. But the ones that don't make great opponents for the ones that do, if that makes any sense at all. Epico and Primo, at this point, you know, they're sitting on ready. They've still got their tag team championship rematch against R-Boom, I guess is what they're calling themselves now, R-Truth and Kofi Kingston. They're fast. They meld together quite nicely. They're cousins, so again, there's that family aspect. I have yet to see what AW and the All World Agency is able to do for them, how he changes their dynamic. Will he change their dynamic as much as Vicky does for her team? I doubt it, because he doesn't draw nearly as much heat. So they kind of threw a manager on them and then they disappeared. So we know they're a great team. We've seen what they can do. We've seen that they can hold the championships properly and well. They just lost them and fell off the face of the earth. And that didn't do them any favors, because a manager is supposed to bring you up, not relegate you to obscurity. The last one, and people are going to be surprised that I'm saying this because I can't stand Santino, but if you want a goofy comedy fan favorite, you know, something for the kids type of team, you've got the sometimes tag team of Santino Marella and Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder's got the internet crowd, Santino's got the kids and anybody that, you know, thinks that what he does is funny. Those are sections of the audience, even though I don't particularly go for that kind of thing. So they could add a light atmosphere or some levity to the division, where most of the rest of these teams are heels. So there'd be some pretty intense, angry matches. So if you had a match with those guys and you wanted to throw in some light sort of comedy stuff, I don't guess that it would kill the division completely. So if you need some guys to fill that role, throw in Santino and Ryder, and yeah, you've got a good 10 teams there in the tag team division already. You don't need to go out and grab somebody new. You don't need to grab some brand new anonymous brass ring. You've got the talent right here to do it, WWE. You've got the time in a 3-hour Raw, you know, throw on a 10-minute tag team match, throw on maybe 1 or 2 5-minute cruiserweight matches. You've still got an extra 45 minutes to play with, where you can still shove 45 more minutes of John Cena down our throats and still give this young talent that you're not even touching time to shine, time to breathe. And here is your reality check for the night. WWE Tag Team Division, Cruiserweight Division. You have no more excuses. Guys, I hope you like this video. I'd really be interested in what you guys have to say, what you guys think about what I've been saying. What do you think of the state of the tag team division? What do you think of the idea of bringing back the Cruiserweight division? I know the Cruiserweight division is one of those things that, you know, divides the YWC in half. Have your say down below. Even if you don't agree with me, as long as you're respectful, your comments will not be touched. Till then, I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there. Talk down there, start a conversation, let me know what you think. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to every single last one of you later. Right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys.
Get up, come on.